Hello and welcome to the Gamers Table. It's been a long time and we're back. And this week we're reviewing
Mysterium! You have dared to cross the threshold of the haunted Mysterium Manor. How very brave. Settle in around the table, open your mind, and awaken your sixth sense as you prepare for an extraordinary seance with the aim of laying a stranded soul to rest.
You've got one person who's the ghost, who I guess is the victim, or who's trying to tell all the investigators, psychic investigators, who killed him. And you can't communicate directly with words and everything like that. You have to try and get them to figure out their specific personality and everything by using these Dixit-like cards. They're all just a bunch of weird, surreal images, just like the Dixit cards.
So there's a bunch of different personalities you could possibly be.
Yes, there's a personality, a location, and an item.
Locations are those.
You got the locations, and these are all the items. So you got like a typewriter, a gun, a vial. I don't know what's in it, but it could be poison, a fork, and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, the artwork's really nice, and this is the people deck, so you got like a granny with yarn, and looks like a stonemason guy with a hammer and the big beard. There's the artwork is pretty nice, and there's lots of little things within the picture that the ghost can use to try to link what he's trying to tell you from this to this.
So if you've ever watched any of those psychic shows or when everybody gets a prophecy or anything like that, it's always in these ridiculously mystical, vague terms that don't make any sense to anybody until afterwards. That's sort of what this game feels like, because when he's showing you puffy clouds in a sky with a red thing underneath,
Or this one.
yeah, well, what's he think? Is it is he going for orange? Is he going for the tower? Is he going for the bird at the bottom? What part of this?
Or
a
those
little
not
blimp
birds,
in the
they're
corner.
angels, because the birds have spears.
Again, what could it be? And that's what happens. So the neat thing is the ghost is allowed to give you multiple cards. So he might give you 3 different cards, and together you're saying, okay, these 3 together, it's red, and I think I see a needle and a key in there. Okay, that's pointing me towards the granny because it's got the red stuff. She's got knitting needles there, and I got some keys over there. Maybe that's it. So if you think that's who you are, you put your token on that particular one. And then other people can vote whether or not they think you're right or not to get themselves more points for later on in the game.
So anyway, the ghost has this shield. And in this shield...
Captain America, Iron Man, no,
Yes,
different
yeah.
shield.
There's columns here. They're all color coordinated columns, and the players seated around the table will have their little token matching whatever color.
It's their answer key.
Yes, it's their answer key. Anyway, you'll have a person, place, and thing in each column for each player at the table. And the ghost has
There's
to
a
try and
duplicate
hand
set of
them
cards.
out cards to each person to try and get them guess all 3 things before the end of the game, because if not everybody's up to figured out all their stuff by the end of, I think it's the 7th round or something like that, you lose. And again, if everyone guesses the final, I guess the killer at the end of the game, everybody loses as well. So you've got,
If everybody, they don't guess the final thing
Number
right
of
at the end of the game.
different yes. And during the course of the game, when the ghost's handing out these cards, you're allowed to discuss freely, like what you think this, or who you think this person is, where they are, and what item they've got. And by doing, once the ghost has handed out cards to everyone for that particular round, you can vote on the players' tokens of where they are, and whether you agree with who they are, or what they have, or well, that's the disagree, actually, the X, or the agree symbol, the little check mark. And you get points based on how correct your guesses are.
You also get a lot of
Maybe-
points if
go
you
ahead.
get through all your cards first. So if you guess your person, then you move on to the location, then you move on to the item. This is also a timed game too. So after the clue giver gives his clues, the sand timer gets flipped, and that's how much time the players have to decide where they're going and who they're all voting for. And then on the final round, when you're trying to find all 3 combinations of cards, the clue giver has that much time.
Once everybody's made it through and figured out who they are, where they are, and what item they've had, it gets down to everybody puts their cards out that they've collected in front of these numbered tokens and in sets around the table, numbered like I think it's 1 to 6.
7.
Well, 7 would be the
Right.
ghost.
Right.
So it's 1 to 6.
Oh my God, Ken was right.
And now the ghost has to hand out
That's spooky.
3 more cards,
Like a ghost.
but one at a time, because it depends on how, like what I said with the tokens, how correct you were with like guessing. Actually, I'm not sure how to explain that the best.
Yeah, the quicker you've got you're through the path, and the more you've
The more
said
points you've acquired.
yes or no to people and been right about it, you'll have more points. And the farther
Okay.
you advance along, the more of the 3 cards the ghost has, you get to see.
I think the best
Before you have to make your final guess.
way to explain it is like, okay, purple thinks they're the nanny, or whatever, the little bakery lady or whatever I guess she is, and everyone else thinks maybe I think you're wrong. Actually, I don't think you are that person. I think you're the other person. So they'll put their X. Well, purple can't
You're
put
no
his own
longer
X.
talking about the final round now.
No, I'm not talking about the final round, but
He's talking about getting points.
we're getting to that. But
Okay.
this is getting
So you're
points
kind of
during the
bouncing
game.
around.
Well, I'm trying to.
Okay.
Anyway. Red doesn't think purple is the nanny, so red puts this X on their token, like so. I don't know if you can see that on the screen. No, you
Probably
can't.
Yes, on this one you can.
Okay, well, anyway.
Wide angle.
Yes, I forget about that one. But anyway, as you go, if say purple was incorrect and red said yes, you were incorrect, they get a point for saying so. And depending on how correct you were during the game, you can at the final round you can look at up to I guess the first card. And if you don't get far enough in points, or if you do get far enough in points, you can maybe look at the second card, 2 cards, and then the 3 cards at the end there if you get enough points. I'm not explaining that very well. It's terrible.
Well, throughout the game, when you actually figure out what cards are yours, you put them in your color pouch. So this would be the purple player, the blue player,
Yes.
etc.
That's during the game.
That's during the game, but that's how it's separated for the final round.
The ghost is getting 6 cards each time.
Let's finish the end of the round thing.
Fine.
We were getting to that.
Yeah,
we're really working our way up to it and not doing it very
We're gonna
well.
make you edit the crap out of this.
Yes.
And no kidding.
But anyway,
Remember at the start, heavily edited?
yes. But at the very end of the game there, all the sets are laid out in front of these numbered tokens. The ghost has to put out 3 cards. But they're shuffled up. So not everyone knows which one's for the person, which one's for the thing, and which one's for the
Place.
location. So
Are you sure they're shuffled up?
yes, they are shuffled up. That's where your points come in. When the ghost is putting these 3 cards out for you to vote on, and this is the voting at the end here is not open discussion. It's secret. So you've got a number on the back of your little check marks and X's here to say which character you think the ghost is trying to point at. And that's where the number of cards comes in. So you have to vote. If you didn't do well, you vote after the first card. And if you did better, you can vote after the second card, which gives you a little more information. And if you've done really well, you can vote after you've seen all 3 cards to guess who the actual killer was.
And keep in mind, this is a cooperative game, so the ghost is really trying to steer you in the right direction.
But the ghost can't talk.
And if you're in real trouble, you're not even making to the final round.
The ghost gets 6 cards, and sometimes you get 6 cards.
7.
And 7 cards, and none of them... God, twice in a row. And none of them are any good. They're not going to help you at all. You have a certain number of crows in the game, and you can choose to exchange one of the crows for a complete new set of
Hey,
cards.
you can have crow too.
All right, I got crow.
Sometimes it doesn't help you, sometimes it does, but that's your only real option as the ghost. Okay,
Right. So
yeah, wrapping up.
Like you said,
Okay.
the cards. Did you say like when
It's
you're
not
handing them
finished.
out, you can refill your hand?
I did not.
Okay. Well, as the ghost is as the ghost is handing out cards to each player in a particular round, they get to replace up to 7 again before they hand to the next person. And you said the crows get used up as you need them because your hand can suck.
So, how do we feel about this game?
Well,
Also known as wrapping up.
according
Yes.
to the 3 criteria, easy to play. It is fairly easy. I mean, once someone has explained the game to you, it doesn't take long. Because it's a very intuitive game and very cooperative, it's really easy for you to get the hang of it get the handle of it.
Handle?
Get a handle
Hey,
on it.
I'm the new word maker.
I know, I
Yes.
forgot. And join in with everybody. You won't, and because the other people may have played before, and it's a co-op game, they sort of can steer you a little bit for the first one until you do get the hang of it. Fun to play, yeah, because it's a co-op game, but you still got to think. It's not one of those co-op games where you blow up a club and bonk people on the head.
Whoa, hey.
It's a game where you actually have to like use your brain a little bit and try and figure out what the guy or girl on the other side of this screen is thinking, because sometimes they go to a weird place. And easy to play, fun to play, and theme was the other one.
That's your yes.
Yeah, the theme pretty much holds. I mean, that's what you're trying to figure out weird stuff with very vague, very otherworldly type clues. So I will go on this one an 8.5. I would go higher, but for the times where sometimes none of those cards make any damn sense, and you mulligan with a crow and they still don't make any sense, and you can just be, I gotta give all the cards to you and hope.
So yeah, I enjoy Mysterium. It's a fun game. I like the cooperative aspect of it. I like the fact that the person trying to lead you can only communicate on the cards, and sometimes you can really, as the clue giver, I give the cards and then they go off on a tangent, or they got the right idea and then somebody else throws them off. It's like and it's frustrating when there's just one person lagging behind, and you can't get to the final round. But I really enjoy it. I'll give this one an 8.5 as well.
Well, I really enjoy this one. Obviously, this is my copy that we've got in front of us here. We played it at our friend Chad's place, and I had to go get my own. It was just, I really like this kind of game. Love the artwork on it, but the gameplay itself is what really amazed me about it. I love these kind of games where it's a cooperative. Yeah, I like cooperative games, but I really like the clue giving stuff like this and code names and I keep forgetting the name of Deception. Yeah,
Deception,
stuff like that. Yeah, I really like these kind of games. This one, being the ghost, is a real challenge. You get your handful of cards, and some of the images, or maybe none of the images, really help you with the people or the places or the things that are out there. And you're just like, oh man, how am I going to do this? Do I focus on, or do I give them cards that really focus on the color, the particular overall artwork or image on it, or do I focus on the little detail? I might have to. That might be the only thing that can help me here, is that little detail in the background, and maybe there's multiple cards that will have a similar detail that they can go on. That's the challenge of the people at the table, the investigators, is to try and figure out what the ghost is getting at. Sometimes people can focus on the overall color too much, or he's going with that image is like, but wait a minute, no, that's only in a couple of the cards, it's not on all the cards. What's he getting at here? So it could be that little detail in the background. I love the challenge of that, and there are different difficulty levels in this game, and it varies greatly because you've got a lot of different locations, a lot of different characters, and a lot of different items, and there's expansion cards too, which even increase on that variety, and the crows really make a big difference too, as far as helping out the ghost. But so I love it. I'm going to give this one a 9.
Okay, that's it for this episode of the Gamers Table. Tune in next time for a show on something. Maybe another game.
Might be Craig cooking.
Could be a game.
Could be 3D printers. Could be an
Possibly.
unboxing video. Something.
Who knows?
Oh, and comment about the new intro.
We got a new intro?
You got a new intro.
I guess I'll see it later.
Yeah. See ya.
Bye.